Good morning, good morning. It's Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. Yes, it is. I'm so excited to be having a cosmic conversation today. Let me search for Christopher. There he I hope everyone had a beautiful. Oh, there you're already here, Christopher. So good to see you. Hi, Tasha, Pop
Hi,
Astrologer.
I'm
I
here
see you
for the
there.
cosmic conversation.
Yes,
I'm here
yes.
for the cosmic conversation.
I'm so excited to talk to you, Christopher.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Great,
Yay!
great. Did you have a
Yay!
did you have a Merry Christmas?
Oh my God, I had a wonderful Christmas. It
Oh,
was
good, good.
so good. It was so good. Wonderful Christmas and wonderful birthday, which is 2 days before Christmas.
Ah, happy birthday. That's right.
Thank
You're a
you.
Capricorn. Oh my
Right.
God. I can't wait to get into the astrology of next year. I really want to get your thoughts on a couple of transits,
Oh
but
yeah, well, yeah. There's a few. It's
well,
Cosmic Lollapalooza for 2026.
you need no introduction, but I just want to
Oh,
let people know Christopher is an
oh,
amazing writer and
thank
rise and shine
you.
about the ascendant and the cosmic calendar are
And
both
a properly
fantastic.
marked up cosmic calendar, as I can see.
Yes, yes. I hang on your every word, Christopher.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Thank you. God bless you.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself in case anyone doesn't know who you
Oh,
are?
hi. My name is Christopher Renstrom, and as a very good friend of Celeste's, always open for a cosmic conversation, and great fan of Celeste's. Okay, and yeah, I've written 3 books: Ruling Planets, which was put out by HarperCollins in 2001, and then Cosmic Calendar and Rise and Shine, which were both published by Tarcher Perigee, which is part of Penguin Random House. And I'm the creator of rulingplanets.com website and the creator of Christopher Renstrom Astrology, which is a YouTube channel where we do all sorts of wonderful, fun things. We do forecasts, but we also do deep dive astrological videos and things like that. I think we just posted the astrology of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, where
Oh,
we go and we revisit A Christmas Carol and we look at Charles Dickens's chart and all of the astrological symbolism that's in A Christmas Carol. And it was just such a delight and so much fun to put together. And then on Monday, oh my God, I'm doing my first January forecast live. Scary. I know. We usually test them ahead of time, but this time it's like January forecast live. Go into it. Okay, so that airs live on Monday, like around like 1 p.m. Mountain Time or something like that.
okay.
Yeah.
I will try to grab that. Is that people can see that on your YouTube channel?
Yes, it's going to be live feed on the YouTube channel, and basically it demonstrates what the live portion of the Christopher Renstrom Astrology Salon is. There's also, which is also connected to the YouTube channel, although that's a paid for subscription. Very cheap, $5 for the lessons, $10 for the lessons and the live. So it's like a great deal.
That is an
And
amazing deal.
this is what we get to show off, but also we take questions after we do the January forecast. And so and this is what I actually love about, now that I've got like the salon component with the YouTube component, is that people can write in with questions and their birth information, and it's a safe space. It's private space with the
Hmm.
subscription, and it's not YouTube space where it's like you don't want your personal information getting out there. So
Yeah.
it's actually a wonderful opportunity to chat and visit with all the subscribers, and I very much enjoy it. It's like,
Oh,
you know how much fun that is. Come on.
absolutely, absolutely. I've been mulling over going back to have some kind of community, but I'm still figuring out exactly what I want it to be. Do I want it to be about mundane astrology, about the moon cycles? Yeah.
So many astrologies, and so little time.
I know. Well, first off, I mean, what is your big takeaway for 2026? Do you have like a headline you want to say about
Honestly,
the
honestly,
energy?
cosmic Lollapalooza. No, what do I want to say about 2026? It's really volatile and it's really exciting at the same time. We have the final and the most solid shift into the air and fire signs for the modern planets. Jupiter will join at the end of June. And so this is going to be an extraordinary caffeine high for all the air and fire signs. I mean, like they're going to be like 2-year-olds on like jelly beans. Okay. They're going to be bouncing off the walls and zipping around and running around on the furniture. I mean, they're going to be so hyped up, jazzed up. Okay.
Yes.
And it's also a celebration because they've had to deal with, you know, Pluto and dour Capricorn and, you know, Neptune and watered down Pisces, you know, for such a prolonged period of time. So this is them bursting out of the cannon, you know, and feeling very, very powerful, empowered and very dynamic and animated. And for those of us who are born under earth and water signs, we have to get used to this new world that we're living in. You know, we have to
Mhm.
make the adjustments. I mean, it's very rare when the modern planets are all in sextiling elements, you know, and so when they do that, they change the 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 temper. You know, they change the climate of the world. They really do. And so this is we had a very big taste of it in 2025, and it was much more kind of like careening from side to side and things like that in 2025. Going into 2026, I think people have kind of adjusted to it as best as you can.
Yeah.
But just imagine what a football game looks like when the ball's been fumbled and both teams are flying to grab it. That's 2026 in a nutshell.
That is a
Okay.
great description. And I feel like there's like more than two teams. There's like eight teams potential. Well,
Or
it starts with
1,700
two and then
teams.
they're like
Entire football.
dividing.
The entire NFL is competing on the field at the
Yeah,
same
at
time.
the same
But you're
time
right.
on the
You're
same
right.
field.
Right.
It's going to be a really wild year. So we
Yeah.
have to buckle up and meet the moment. I feel like is something.
Well, I think we also have to practice our spontaneity
Mm-hmm.
and our inventiveness and our adaptability. We're going to have to be ready to turn on a dime and pivot at the most inconvenient moments. I mean, it's a year in which we can go in with our plans, but those plans are not going to be realized. But that's not a bad thing. It
Mm-hmm.
it's also because of the Uranian energy. You may go in with a set of plans or expectations, but you may wind up finding halfway through the year that, you know, those got upset only to be replaced by better ones, you know, with better results. Like you might have been underestimating what you could do or produce or what you should expect. So it's really free wheeling. You know,
Mm-hmm.
no one is in a secure position. I don't care how wealthy you are and I
Yeah.
don't care how unwealthy you are. Nobody is in a secure position. We often translate that as like, oh, frightening, going into a bunker or whatever, but actually it's kind of like, hey, anything can happen here.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, and so a lot of times that brings opportunities, not formal
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, but, you know, it can be the person least likely to whatever who ends up with the Willy Wonka golden ticket, you know. So this is really what I see with 2026. We're going to be running to keep up with things. We're going to have to be ready to rewrite the narrative or the dialogue. We're going to have to dump expectations in favor of maybe better ones,
Mm-hmm.
or dump expectations because they're holding us down. Again, if you're Earth and if you've got a lot of Earth and water in your chart, you have to be ready to improvise, to learn, to be open to the information that's coming at you from different places. It's not going to go according to your formula. It's not going to go according to plan, and that's actually a good thing. It's actually a really, really good thing. I think there are going to be times of the year that are really exciting and exhilarating. The
Mhm.
moderns are forming sextiles, and then we've got trines which are going on with Uranus
Yes.
and Pluto, and just and these are lovely. These are good things. They're not squares.
Hmm.
Like remember when we had that Uranus squaring Pluto or whatever in the mid-teens? A square is like my way or the highway. It's kind of like,
Yes.
when in America they say to immigrants, speak English.
Yes.
But then when we've got the moderns going into air and fire, speak English is turned into, well, learn Spanish. Like, open your world, learn
Uh-huh.
new abilities and talent and skills. You open your world. It's not about this is the way things have to be done. So there's a lot of freedom and a lot of dynamism in this. And I think in a funny way, 2025 prepared us for it because we saw so many, things shot, so many horses shot out from under people. Sorry
Hmm.
for the analogy, but I'm thinking of Pony Express here. But
Yeah.
so many things that were secure shot out from under people, and that got people past the shock and into inventiveness. Like, okay, how do I deal with this? I can't depend on things that are traditional or conventional. I have to look out for me. But what's kind of emerging from 2025 is I have to look out for me and my neighbor, or I have to look out for me and
Yes.
my friend, or I have to look out for me and my community. So there's a beautiful that's a wonderful thing that's emerging.
Yes, I think people will be more likely to get together in person, and
Hmm.
forming community, I think, is one of the best things you can do. I've seen people even on threads forming communities and talking about the things that they're going through even if they don't have things in real life. But
Yeah.
be mindful, be careful on the internet. But I think, yeah,
Right.
making a plan to who can I meet up with in person
Yeah.
or on like a private Zoom or things like that could be something to think about
Right.
going
Right.
in with like-minded people.
Right.
Do
And
something.
maybe some unlike-minded people,
Yeah,
because we're dealing with Uranus in the mix. So there may also be, meeting people that you might, and unlike-minded, non-like-minded people doesn't mean they're antagonistic. They just might not be familiar to you, or what
absolutely.
you're used
Yes.
to, or what you know. So, a lot of this siloing that's been talked about, I think that that's kind of like an earth water thing. And I think we're getting more into a deconstructing of the silos and a more dialogue and conversational thing. And again, the ball's in play, and no one's in control of it. It's like
Absolutely.
no one is in control of that. And again, I would say embrace that as the adventure and the excitement of 2026. So
Mm.
I don't think it's going to be, it's going to be challenging because changing your views of things, or as someone just said, absorbing or taking in a different perspective, that can be challenging, but it's also educational, enlightening, exciting, and maybe exercising those muscles that have been, a little bit strained by getting, things thrown at you over and over and over again.
Mhm.
So I see it as good. You know,
Yeah.
it's not going to go as planned, but things happen. I mean, how many more times can we use the word unprecedented, right?
We live, yeah. I mean, nothing is precedented.
There's no precedent anymore. It went.
We're in a new world. And you know what? Last night I reread Michael Luton's piece in Vanity Fair from
Hmm.
2006, where he did a forecast of Pluto in Capricorn and the
Capricorn.
US Pluto return. And it ends with talking about 2025. And he was right on target. So
Do
anyone,
you have a link to that or anything?
yeah, I'll send it to you after this.
Please,
Yes.
because
And
I've
I
got a
post
copy somewhere, but I don't know where it is, and I would love to. I'd love to really read it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I'm wondering if on the full moon or between the full moon and the first eclipse, Vanity Fair will repost it or will reprint it or something, because the full moon, he talks a lot about the US and how we
Hmm.
are Cancer sun, but we have
Right,
Pluto and Capricorn, and really
right.
talking about that axis. And the full moon on January 3rd is at 13 degrees of Cancer, which
Oh,
is
wow.
our sun. So the moon's going to be on the sun. So that would be a great time for people really to be Mercury. Well, Mercury will be in Capricorn by that time, but
Right.
it'll be a great time for people to be rereading this. And I put it on Threads, and I'll put it in my stories after we talk, and I'll send you the direct link. But
Thank you.
it's
Thank
a
you. I appreciate
brilliant
it.
piece. I really recommend people
I've
read
always
it.
heard that, and it was one of those things that unfortunately I always wanted to get around to reading and never did. So maybe I'm meant to read it now
Yes,
with
absolutely,
all the best of our
Christopher.
audience today. We can
Yes.
all be a community together reading Michael Luton's piece.
Absolutely, and share it wildly. If
Yeah.
anyone, especially if you have astrology skeptics who are open minded, you can share this with them. I mean, my mind was just like it was just so on point. But I want to ask you, what do you think as a
Mm,
Capricorn
mm,
about what's happening at the beginning of the year? So we have this full moon and Venus, full moon in Cancer, but
right,
Venus, the sun, and Mars are all in a line in Capricorn opposite the full moon at 13 degrees. So Venus is
right,
at 12, sun at 13, Mars at 14, and then they all like catch up, switch places in the following
right,
week. And that
right.
two Kazimis. What are you thinking about that?
It's Kazemi Central. Um, well, what I mean, personally, I'm more focused on the Saturn Uranus sextile, which is a little bit
Oh, that's
later.
right.
And this could be leading up to that sextile. Whenever I look at an opposition like that, I don't regard oppositions as balancing. Okay, I actually
Mhm.
regard them as splitting energy.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
because the planets are so polarized and they want nothing to do with one another. And I always use this all the time, which is the US Congress. They're not fighting, they're just not talking to each other. Okay. And so there's and by a standoff and maintaining a standoff and consistent no's to one another, they're not moving. At least with the square, you're getting a one-upmanship, but with an opposition, there's no need to talk to one another. I mean, think of the North and South poles of our planet, right? They're
Mhm.
opposition, they're polar opposites, literally, and you don't see a polar bear in Antarctica and you don't see a penguin up on in the North Pole. I mean, like they're completely different
Mhm.
denizens, creatures, whatever that occupy these places, and that's the way that I regard opposition. So I would imagine that with the moon, and the moon's powerful because it's in its own sign, and it's full. And as you said, it's conjunct the United States sun. So I think that that's absolutely a growing split that's going on in the United States of America. We're having, unfortunately, I mean, if you want me to talk like on a political or cultural level,
Yes, I'd love you to.
we're having the return of plutocracies, people in power, and the people who are not in power, and that's not that doesn't go well in the United States of America. At this time, last time, Neptune was in Aries, which was the Civil War and the years following the Civil War. You have the beginning of strikes of people who are labor striking against what was the techno bros, the version of the 1860s, 1870s version of the techno bros, which was the railroad.
Mhm.
And you had strikes going against these people. And what's fascinating is that you also have the introduction of the Communist Manifesto into American society during this. Yeah,
Back in the
communist.
1860s?
Yeah, because Communist Manifesto shows up, what, 1848, 1846, 48.
Okay, I don't
And
know the
so,
year.
yeah, so it's when Neptune's discovered, but, and then it makes its way to America, and you have the unions talking about commune, and this is what's going on in Paris, France. And just to put you in mind of what's going on in Paris, France, Les Miserables. Okay, this is when Les Miserables takes place. You have the
Mhm.
Paris Commune, and so this was the big fear following the end of slavery, that this would migrate to America, and you have the fortifying of unions and strikes against those people in power, and them showing off, the strikers showing off the muscle, and then you have the beginning of the criminalization of anything that's communist.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah. I've been seeing, I wonder if there's going to be a general strike at some point next year, or like large amounts of people are going to be like,
I would
hold up.
put
If we don't
S.
stop this now, this trade to replacing all of us with robots and AI, we're never going to stop it. So, yeah.
Well, I love what Andrew Yang said. He was a presidential candidate, one of the people running, and when Biden was selected, and what's his line? I think it's capitalism only works if people have money to spend. So
Absolutely.
if you replace people and they don't have money to spend,
Yeah. Let me tell people, Laughing Willow put a link to the Vanity Fair article in
thank you,
there.
laughing. Oh, I love Laughing Willow. I adore
Yes.
Laughing Widow.
Yeah, and I saw
Willow.
Amy's boyfriend bought her a reading with me, so I'm so excited, Amy. So I want to shout that out too. I saw
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you
Oh,
so
that's
much, Laughing
wonderful.
Willow. Yeah.
Oh, she's the best. I love her.
So sorry to interrupt you, but yes, absolutely. The thank you for that history about how Neptune and Aries and communism coming to America. It's so interesting. Like the MAGA, deep MAGA is calling is focusing on Martin Luther King. They're trying to demonize him, knock the top off that mountain is one of the things I called it. Talking about him being a communist, which was a talking point
Well,
back in
that's not new, and he wasn't, because the
yeah,
church goes against communism, and he's a man. He's a man of the church. So those two ideas never caught. Those didn't catch
no,
on in the '60s when they tried painting him with that brush, so they're
yeah.
not going to catch on now. But what's interesting is that we're seeing a socialist president, a
I
president who
know.
doesn't think twice of getting involved in business and controlling the way it goes. So, I mean, as I said, this is a fumbled football. All of
Mhm.
these ideas and ideologies, everything is up for grabs, and people are grabbing for things, and the old accusations don't really hold anymore. I mean, Neptune in Aries was an extraordinary time. The last time Neptune was in Aries was an extraordinary time in this country.
Oh no, Christopher, I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me okay?
Okay, now I
Oh,
can.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're saying Neptune and Aries last time from
Last time Neptune
1860.
was in Aries, which is basically 1860 plus 14 years, right?
Yes.
Last time it was there, you you have the question of what is an American citizen, because you have these freemen, okay,
Hmm.
people who are not slaves anymore, and they are now American citizens. They are now native born. So what does that mean to be an American citizen? So that's the first time, you know, and again, indigenous people were, sort of, but that's the first time since 1776 with the Constitution that you
Hmm.
have the question of what is an American citizen, and so that identity is really strong, and so that would be such a pertinent topic right now. I think the Supreme Court is going to be looking at the birthright thing, or whatever.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
this whole idea of what of identity, is, and it's all over the
It's
place,
so
whether,
Aries and Saturn and Neptune coming together in Aries
which is
is
that wonderful disillusioning that's that's
hmm
that's going on, because we're already seeing the hyped up masculinity, these caricatures of masculinity with
Mhm.
Neptune and Aries. And
Who
then,
just got their faces broken. Jake Paul, that MMA fighter, got his jaw broken in two
oh
places.
my
And
God,
Andrew Tate, these are both men who like treat women terribly. They're like that hyper masculine. Yeah, but
that weird
they both
caricature
they're both
of
caricatures, and they
masculinity.
both lost fights in the last week. At the start of the Sagittarius new moon square
And of
Neptune.
course, Aries rules the face, but
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
so yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that, and it's going to be interesting because again, I think the whole idea of fluid identity, whatever, and
Yeah.
that's not just limited to gender. What I mean,
Yeah.
that's Neptune and Aries, so all of those things are going to be active throughout the year, really for the next 14 years, but we're involved in a very exciting time,
Hmm.
and people tend to go apocalyptic when you get involved in exciting times like
Yeah.
this. And that's what I love about history, because even people at the
This
time are like,
never happens again. The
it'll
world
never
is
happen
ending.
again, or this is the last time it will happen, because the world will end on this, the world will die on this hill. And it's like, no.
There's a guy, some kind of preacher in Africa who is telling people, I think it's a different guy than who told people about the rapture at the solar eclipse. But
Oh,
anyway,
they always move on to it, right?
he's built an ark. It said Christmas, the world was over on Christmas Day. And it's just kind of funny watching people with the North Node and Pisces being like all caught up in these
Apocalyptic
fantasies
fantasies, right?
about doom with the Saturn Neptune about the end of the world. So,
Well,
yeah,
and that's what apocalypses were. They were,
yes,
in early Christianity and even before Christianity, apocalypses were like a dime a dozen. They were the revenge fantasies of slaves,
mm,
and slavery, meaning like a lot of the Roman population, which had been conquered people, were that.
yes,
And the revenge fantasy was like, God will come and wipe out all the rich people and set the poor people up, and things will be right, and so it's kind of always fascinating to see when this apocalyptic thing
yes.
repeats over and over and over again. And I know that some of the billionaires, the Silicon billionaires, have this kind of dystopic
Yes, yeah, one
thing
of
that's
the,
going on.
and they're so odd,
They're weird.
so odd. And we are putting our fortunes into these people who are out there. So I think people
Right.
are waking up to this. But you started mentioning the Saturn sextile Uranus that's
Yeah.
happening mid-January. Saturn will still be in Pisces, sextile Uranus in
It's their last sextile.
Taurus.
Yeah.
Yes, of three, right? So
Which sounds like a musical number. It's the
mhm.
last sextile. But yeah, no, it's their last sextile. And to me, it's a really important one, because these are the two rulers of Aquarius
Mhm.
that are forming the sextile, the traditional ruler, which is Saturn, and the modern ruler, which is Uranus. And this sets up a theme that I noticed throughout the year with these sextiles with the modern planets and trines. It's almost valves being open to release building tensions. Okay. As I
Mm.
said, it's not a squaring energy like it was in the mid-teens of, the 2010s. These are sextiles and trines. And so that means conversation. That
Mm.
means that the different modern planets are talking to one another. And I think that for people, with earth and water in your chart, this Saturn Uranus sextile is really important. This is it's the ending sextile. It's a departing sextile. It's Saturn leaving that sextile. So the Saturn lessons that you had to learn vis-a-vis Uranus and Taurus, which might have begun with "hang on,"
Yeah.
to my world's changed and this is what it looks like. This departing sextile is always dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and winding things up. Okay. And so for water and earth signs, this is going to be something in which I don't think it's really going to be event filled as much as it's going to be like, I can't believe I got to the other side of the last 8 to 9 years, and I'm still standing. Or, I didn't know my world got exploded in 2018, 2019, 2020. I didn't think that the pieces would ever come back together, but they're cohering. They are coming back together. I apologize. I have an uncooperative son and we have snow here in Utah. So it's probably banking up and like blaring everything out, but this is a period of time of really bringing things to an end, of concluding matters, and getting ready for the dynamism of the return of Neptune to Aries, of Saturn to Aries, followed by Uranus to Gemini, which is going to reactivate that Pluto in Aquarius. So I do see this as being linked to those things, simply because these are the two ruling planets of Aquarius. And at this point, Pluto is genuflecting to both of them. Pluto is ruled by both of them in this sextile. So it's a coherent sextile. It's a making sense of things, and getting ready for next round.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Someone was asking, Manifestor for Toronto was asking about, is the stock market going to drop? I don't know if the stock market's going to drop, but Saturn does rule in the United States chart the our second house of finances and things, and it could be what I'm concerned about is the debt that all these other countries own. And if they get together and start selling it off in a coordinated fashion, that could be Saturn Neptune coming. Yeah.
Oh, the Saturn Neptune conjunction,
The
the
conjunction. I'm
upcoming
seeing that more as,
conjunction.
but really pay attention to what the news is around that time, because Uranian things
Absolutely.
around
Absolutely.
Taurus things are going to come into our conscious attention. So it could
Right.
very well be
With
a
the Saturn.
switcheroo, a flip on the other side of something. Yeah.
Okay, so you're calling that for what is it? Is it the February 20th that
February 20th
conjunction?
is Saturn Neptune. So I have been
Right.
calling Neptune and Aries pop the balloon. And like where people's fantasies, like the pixie dust, is all expired,
Right.
and you start to see things as they really are. But one of the big themes is this AI balloon. So I'm wondering if, because we have on February 17th, we have that solar eclipse at
In
28
Aquarius.
degrees of Aquarius,
Right.
squaring Uranus and Taurus, and then we
Right.
have Saturn Neptune, and it's like the wake up call is like a huge siren that sound the alarm kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be interesting. The reason I wouldn't climb on board of that right
Yeah,
away
yeah.
is because I think there's more inflating to come.
Okay.
And the reason for that is like that conjunction takes place in fire,
Yeah,
but then we're going to have Jupiter going into Leo later
yeah.
on in the year. And so there's a lot. I mean, I kind of see the air and fire energy as working like a hot air balloon. It's
Okay.
filling up the
Oh,
balloon.
so it's going to just fill up more and more and more. You don't see it.
That's why yeah,
You don't see
that's,
it. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be I think will it bring a disillusioning event or a
Yeah.
situation? Yes. Okay. But is that the end of the inflating?
No.
Not with all of that air and fire going into our hot air balloon.
Okay.
And that's going to be increasing as the year goes on. I do think that there is, I mean, I do think that there probably is a market correction up ahead.
Yeah, maybe when Jupiter is opposed, Jupiter and Leo opposite Pluto and Aquarius might be.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm kind of wondering, and I'd love your opinion on this. I'm kind of wondering if it might have something to do with Obamacare or the medical insurance situation. You
oh, which
know,
which one? The February.
the February conjunction with Saturn and Neptune.
Oh, in Aries. That.
Yeah,
Mm,
because I know that Obamacare is ruled by or comes through during the time that Mars is in Leo. Okay.
Okay.
And so Mars has always been connected to, whenever I've seen fiery transits or Leo transits with Mars,
Hmm.
Obamacare comes up. Okay. So I'm kind of wondering about that. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone might be like, well, where are you getting the Mars? It's a Saturn Neptune, but it's a Saturn Neptune conjunction in a Mars sign, and Mars is such a powerful planet all
Mhm.
year long. I mean, it really is driving and moving a lot of the action this year. And so I really kind of, and then you mentioned those three planets, which I also want to bring up. You mentioned the Mercury and the Venus and the Mars, right? In
Oh,
Capricorn in opposition.
yes. Well, specifically that Venus, Sun, Mars, and Venus is going to go with Cazimi. Then Venus meets Mars at 19 Capricorn, either 18 or 19 Capricorn, and then the Sun and meets Mars for Mars Cazimi. So there's this boom, 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 boom right
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year. And
And
I'm
that
like, who's going to
pattern,
war? Is it
yeah.
businesses or is it countries? I mean, we're dropping bombs on Nigeria.
Well,
I
it
mean,
could be, which was crazy, you know.
it's just,
I mean, but that pattern of Venus, Sun, Mars actually continues through the year. You have very tight sextiles and trines with the modern planets take place with those three planets, and that continues as a pattern throughout throughout the year. So yeah, I think that that's really really fascinating. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Well, I had Obamacare as a prediction for this solar eclipse, like maybe them taking it away. But what has happened is they will not renew the subsidies. So 20 plus million people are going to find their health care being unaffordable. So we're already seeing something going on with Obamacare. Yeah. So I'll
yeah.
look at that chart. I haven't thought about that with the
Oh yeah,
Saturn.
it gets passed right at like midnight
Ah.
in Congress. I don't have the chart with me. I don't have the chart handy. I have a library that's
Ooh.
festooned with chart, but I do. If I'm remembering correctly, it's past like at midnight or around midnight of that day. It's during the time that Mars is going in and out of retrograde in Leo. I think Mars might have changed direction right when it's passed, which is
Okay.
why whenever Obamacare is being revisited, there's always this cliffhanging aspect to it. Like, will it make it or not? And or things feel like they're
There's nothing like when when
teetering on the
John
cliff.
McCain came in and did that.
And I think it's because like Mars was at maybe 29 Leo. I mean, I might be
Ah.
making it up at this point, but I remember the chart was like really like fraught. It was so last minute, and then it came up again with McCain, and he does thumbs down. That was another last minute. I think that was during a Mars and Leo, or maybe even a Mars retrograde. So there's something about the Obamacare that's always like
The
teetering.
cliffhanger. Okay, I'll look that
Yeah,
up. I'll look
yeah,
that up. Yeah.
yeah.
Any other? Okay, so I want to make sure we get to all these questions too.
Sure, sure,
So,
sure.
any other thoughts, things to be looking out for with that eclipse in Aquarius? Because I
Right,
feel like it's really going to feel disjointed because we don't have a solar eclipse in Pisces. So since the North
right,
Node went into Pisces,
right.
there was a lunar eclipse in Virgo, there
Yeah,
was a lunar eclipse in Pisces, a solar eclipse in Virgo,
right. We're
and
getting
then
that
this next
transitional thing.
eclipse
Right.
should be in Pisces, but it's like, oh, wait, hold up. We're pulling something back and it's going to be in Aquarius. So, how do you, any thoughts on that?
Well, again,
It
it's
could
that
be
kind of
Congress, like some kind of flip up in Congress
Well,
or
again, it's that kind
Parliament.
of like crossing the threshold thing because we
Yeah,
also have the nodes
yeah,
switching,
yeah,
and then we have Uranus at the bendings too.
yeah.
Okay, which is going on as well. So during that thing, I'm not ready. Such a good question. Such a good question. My tendency is to lean more with the solar eclipse in Leo.
To focus on that one. Yeah.
Because Jupiter enters Leo, and then
Uh-huh.
no sooner does it enter Leo than it opposes Pluto in Aquarius.
Yes.
And then
It's
it's
it squares Chiron in first it squares Chiron in Taurus. That could
oh
be financial.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then opposes Pluto. And it's very big for the US as a Sagittarius
It's
rising.
yeah,
Jupiter
and
rules return. Yeah.
right, and then
And Iran.
it's trining the Neptune and sextiling the
Mhm.
Uranus. So that's like in the June 30th, early July, and then we've
Yes.
got the solar eclipse at 20 Leo. So I'm kind of having more of a that was of the eclipses. That's the one that was grabbing my attention.
Okay.
Was that one? This one I think isn't. This one probably is going to be important because the other one grabbed my attention. That's usually what happens. Okay, it's like I was really focused on this other
Well,
one,
this
which
one
was
is opposite the president's ascendant.
right,
So that
right.
it's opposite the president's ascendant. It's on Kamala Harris's Saturn. It is on Obama's South Node, I think. It's like it's all these leaders. It's impacting their charts in different ways. Opposite JD Vance's ascendant.
Okay, everyone, this is why she's the queen of mundane astrology.
It's
This is
like
why Celeste is the queen of mundane astrology. She can just, you can just whip those on out. I swear to God, you could like, boing, 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 boing.
so
Like you're just dying.
I'm really interested to see how that's going to show up. But yeah, after that, because I feel like that sets the whole tone for the year, whatever is going on around then. And then Jupiter enters Leo, and then we're off to the races.
Right,
And I'm really interested in June 29th, or is it, no, July 26th, when Saturn stations retrograde
right.
and the North Node enters Aquarius. I'm calling that trial of the century. Will the trial of the century
Oh, I love that
start
one.
around that time?
I love that one. Now, what do you think about the Jupiter Saturn trine on August 31st?
Oh, Jupiter Saturn trine on August 31st. I haven't thought about that one too much yet. And what degree is it at? It must be
Uh,
14.
Probably. Right,
Because
right.
Jupiter's direct and Saturn's retrograde. The truth shall set you free.
The truth about.
The truth about an elite, somebody elite, some of these elites are going to get, I think, a comeuppance. It's like, I think, like Saturn and Aries pulling back the tape.
Well,
So
it's
see some of their,
that's, I love that you brought that up because everyone will talk about Aquarius as being the rebellious sign,
mm,
of the zodiac, but I find it's actually Aries.
mm-hmm,
And to some extent Capricorn. Capricorn's the resistor, but there is a rebellious quality to Aries because Aries can be so soldier oriented and wanting to believe in the leader.
mm-hmm.
And so, but if it doesn't feel like the leader is the person who should be leading, it will overthrow or work to overthrow. I mean, actually, to some degree, Celeste, what about the military component in all of everything that we're discussing today?
I've been thinking, well, this is what I'm holding the light for.
Hmm.
That at some place, somewhere around the world, the military are going to say, we are not fighting your wars anymore to just enrich the wealthy and say no and kind of put down their weapons.
But
Now,
didn't we just have a very didn't we just have a very explicit moment of throwing down the gauntlet when those Congress people who had been in the military came forward and
yes,
did that message
yes,
and reminded everyone in the military of what their pledge to the military was,
yes.
and that basically without well they did say that they could be prosecuted,
Mhm.
and essentially what they were inferring is this president doesn't last forever. Some of these orders are beyond the pale, and it's caused such a great schism, I think, in the military,
Hmm.
that I also wonder whether that Saturn Uranus conjunction might be associated to that, or whether that isn't, might not be something that's on the game board
Yeah.
too.
Oh, you mean the Saturn Neptune? Yeah.
That right.
But-
So thank you. The Saturn
Yes.
Neptune conjunction, but whether that's not on the game board too, like what's going on with the military, you know,
Hmm.
and you know, as everyone's been speculating, is there going to be a buildup as we go into the midterms, type of
Hmm.
thing so it's going to be really, as I said, everyone, this is a hot football that's rolling around on the field. And how many teams did you decide that we should?
I said 8.
Eight teams. You said eight. It's not football teams. There's eight.
Yeah, well, MAGA is splitting into 2, maybe 3, might be 4 by the
Maybe
midterms.
four.
And there's some new, I think it's called Disrupt. I posted about it, a new progressive movement for younger people to get them involved. And yeah, like there's the old guard and the new guard and the Democratic Party. And yeah, there may be more
What we
factions.
also need to remember is America has not always been two-party system,
No,
you
and we
know,
don't have to be.
and
And
we don't have to be. And during the Civil War, I think there was about 3 to 5 active
mm,
parties, and the new kid on the block, everybody, was the Republicans.
yeah.
The first Republican elected to office is Abraham Lincoln. So, it's never been, this idea of like fixed two parties that can
Yeah.
change at any time.
Although they've tried to make, I'm not an expert, but they've tried to make laws to make it so hard for other parties. But yeah, I think we're going to be seeing some stuff and maybe even splitting like Saturn, Neptune, and that could be about a state saying, we're not paying taxes anymore. Something like we need to be prepared for like really like wild things coming. I'm telling people, no matter what, when you travel,
Right.
get get insurance in case your trip is canceled unexpectedly due to weather, due to unforeseen government shenanigans, doing like a strike.
What used to
The
be called acts of God, right?
acts of God, yes, acts of God can be happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because what we have to remember, I mean, a big to-do was made about the Pluto return in the United States of
yeah.
America. To me, the big Pluto return is the Pluto return of the U.S. Constitution, and that's what we're involved in right now.
Michael Luton in that article
Oh,
said
does he talk
we'll be
about that?
rewriting the Constitution in the late 2020s. So.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised. And I don't know if you read that wonderful book by Joe Lepore, but she talks about the fact that the Constitution was being always rewritten and
Yeah.
amended. I mean, like you have a flurry of amendments following the Civil War. Towards the end of the Civil War and then following it, you have all of these amendments. And the whole point of the Constitution was to be amended. It's not until I think really the failure of the ERA in the
Hmm.
early 1980s where you have this slowing down, if not stagnation, of amendments to the Constitution. We're actually living during an uncharacteristic time
Hmm.
constitutionally where there are no amendments being done. So I think Luton's right on that. I would not be surprised if there, in the next couple of years, whether there's a flurry of amendments
Hmm.
and revisits that are going on in the U.S. Constitution. Yeah, well, it's Pluto return, so
Yep.
yeah, obviously that's going to happen.
Yeah, and Barista Astrologer is talking about, I think there'll be more militias. Well, that's very Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, I feel like.
Well, but then look at it, the
Yeah.
dissolution of it with the conjunction. So
Yeah.
it's like no one knowing who they're following,
Hmm.
you know. And also, what I think we should keep in mind that's also interesting is that a standing army was an anathema to the early Americans following the American Revolution and even the Constitution. And it was an ongoing problem during the Civil War, which you could serve for a period of time in the north, but they didn't want a standing army because of the fear of the army um, taking over. So yeah, I
Well,
think
we're
we're going
seeing that with ICE and the pushback against it. It's like the civil history repeats. It rhymes.
right, right,
Mhm.
right, and as do the planets, by the way. I mean, Uranus is in Gemini during the Civil War, and Neptune is in Aries during the Civil War. So and what's interesting is that Pluto's not in Aquarius, but Pluto was in Taurus, an Earth sign, and a fixed sign. So there's, an interesting echo, but Uranus was definitely in
No,
Gemini, and Neptune was in Aries. So we're seeing those themes return. Yeah.
and Chiron will be in Taurus now. So Chiron will dip, go back into Aries, but come back into Taurus. And I feel like Chiron transits have a similarity to Pluto transits,
Oh, that's
although
interesting.
they could have like a huge sting, but then healing comes from it. More, it's different than Pluto, just like everything starting to fall away or be burned off, but it's more
Right.
like, well, in Aries it's felt like a spear. It'll be different in Taurus. We'll see how
Well,
that.
you know that Chiron, the healer,
Hmm.
was the trainer of killing machines in ancient Greece.
That's right. Achilles, wasn't it? Didn't what did they?
Achilles, Hercules, Actaeon, he trained men to go to war and to kill ruthlessly.
Ah.
And so that's a quality of Chiron that kind of gets overlooked when everyone's talking about the wounded healer. And what that comes from, and there's even a line in the Iliad where a soldier is wounded, and the
Mhm.
soldier says, "Take me to Achilles. He is the student of Chiron. He will be able to heal my wounds." But
Oh.
what it comes from is on the battlefield in ancient Greece, you didn't have a mass unit. Okay, so your comrade, your soldier, was responsible for healing you or administering to you. Either you were going to get left or killed, or administering to you. And
Okay.
so the idea of like the wounded healer and the healer wounds, those are all part of the components of Chiron. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder if Chiron in Taurus isn't going to be revenge of real currency.
Ah, that yes. Yeah, it definitely something financial is coming with
Right.
that. I'm tracking that and tracking the cattle, livestock with Chiron moving into that earth sign.
And you know that bulls were the original form of currency in Western civilization.
Ah, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. It was your head of cattle.
Ah,
And capital coming from kaput goes to the head, and that was counting the head of cattle. Yeah. That's why we'll talk about things like cash cows or a
oh,
bull
that makes
market.
sense. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the bull is a yeah, because the earliest form of property currency, before currency, the earliest is in Western civilization are cattle.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
absolutely.
that's why Taurus is associated with money and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, the pop. Tasha's pop astrologist in the house. She's thinking about how will Chiron affect Mackenzie Scott's Taurus stellium as well. Well, she's using a lot of her money to try to fight against some of the things that the administration is doing. Definitely
To reverse the trend, right?
reverse the trends. Yeah.
Right.
Will they try to stop her with that? Yeah. I don't know how they can. We'll
I
see.
don't know. I don't know how they can, and given the lack of coherence and organization with this group.
It is, I mean, the incompetence is really nerve wracking. It is kind of like why we're not more scared than we are is a good question. But I want to make sure we get
Because we
to
saw it on TV. It's because we saw it on TV. We got used to it.
the retrograde in where Mercury and Venus are retrograde at the same time. They stationed direct November 13th.
Right.
Mercury in Scorpio, Venus moves from Scorpio back into Libra. I'm
Right.
wondering how that'll impact the midterms, if there'll be some kind of delays or
You, you
reversals.
think?
It's going to be wild. Check your voter registration multiple times. Know when the last days are. And yeah, because they're going to definitely be trying to do some funny business.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Because we've got a Venus turning retrograde in the sign where she is in her detriment. So
Hmm.
you almost have like, okay, Venus retrograde is already problematic, and then in the sign of her detriment makes it even more problematic. What I'm liking about that is that she retrogrades back down into Libra, which is the sign that she rules, and then she
Yes.
re-enters Taurus. We had a similar issue. It wasn't Venus who was retrograde and changing signs and then changes direction around the time of the, but we had a similar issue with the election of 2000.
Yes.
It was
Mercury.
Mercury that was retrograde and then
Mhm.
changes direction
No,
and
it was
then
hanging chads.
hanging chads.
Was it called butterfly ballots or something?
Yep, butterfly
Mhm.
ballots. Oh, Celeste, revisiting those memories. They're coming up. They're coming back again.
Oh my God, that was such a nightmare. Oh
That
my
was
God. Can you
insane.
imagine where we'd be now if that all hadn't happened? It would be in a different world. But this
Who
is a
knows?
who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? I think we've both watched enough time machine,
Yeah.
series or time travel series and movies to know that, the more you think it would have turned out differently, it somehow winds up turning out
Hmm.
the same. That
Yeah.
sort of a thing. But yeah, that's definitely a retrograde to keep your eye on. And of course, why these retrogrades happen around elect? Because didn't we just have Mar? The election takes place right around a Mars turning retrograde, right? Our last one?
Mhm. Our
Right,
last one did. It happened. Mars went retrograde after the election, but
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. So
Hmm.
I don't know, the planets have a sense of humor.
Yeah. Ah, oh, check Gavin's chart. Okay, I'll look at that again. Yeah.
Oh, Gavin Newsom? Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
he's been interesting. He's having his Saturn return. I'm really interested to see how some of these people are having Saturn returns in Aries. And I think a big story will be part of how their children are getting more conservative. Like it's like a flip of the 60s in some ways. Because I know Gavin Newsom had talked about one of his sons was a fan of Charlie Kirk.
Well,
And
Charlie
that's
Kirk,
part of why he had him on his radio show, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Charlie Kirk was a very dynamic figure,
Mhm.
and there's no denying that. And I think that, it's interesting what's going on with younger men, in terms of looking for, and I think it has been leading to. I, I think it's fascinating that Saturn goes into Aries following on the heels of Pluto leaving Capricorn, because these are two zodiac signs that are very much associated to father figures,
Mhm.
both Aries and Capricorn. And I think that the appeal, a lot, I mean, the appeal is for younger women as well, but you saw a lot of younger men responding to this. It's this appeal to a father figure,
Mhm.
and wanting a father figure. When Trump was elected, there was a lot of talk, I think,
Calling him daddy.
daddy's coming home, and I think Mel Gibson, and he's getting out the belt.
Yeah.
And I think, Mark Zuckerberg was talking about daddy come. I mean, like, it sounded like it sounded like a gay bar, but anyway, there
Yeah.
was all this talk about like daddy's coming home and he's going to
Yeah.
make things right. And
Yeah.
so I think it's really fascinating that, those types of themes with Pluto, no sooner does Pluto leave Capricorn, and pretty much Saturn's going to enter into Aries, and you have this kind of mythologized, maybe even fetishized father figure, and then this appeal to younger gentlemen who are trying to connect to a masculinity or to a
Mhm.
father or to something. And so I think that that's also very much caught up in that kind of Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries, because
Hmm.
Saturn in Aries will ultimately be, you have to father yourself. You have to be your own dad. That's
Hmm.
Saturn and Aries. It's like no one's going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself,
Hmm.
type of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a lot of popping the balloon, disillusionment, and who they thought daddy was going to be. They thought daddy was going to take care of them, and he's only taking care of himself with his planes and his billions and his coins and this, that, the other thing. So there's some disillusionment about that.
No,
But
I
yeah,
think there's, yeah, I think there's, but it goes beyond Donald Trump. It's,
yes.
you know, because it's going to be government
Hmm.
itself, you know, that it's not taking care, it's not properly parenting its people. You know, that's why
Hmm.
you're having, there's no unification of the disillusionment. The disillusionment is, you know, happening to people from all backgrounds or
Hmm.
political proclivities or affiliations or whatever. It's happening all over.
Yes.
And, you
We're
know,
waking up from the that 14 years of Neptune and Pisces. And
well,
I feel like that Saturn's Neptune will be like, wake up,
well, because
something.
they were traveling together, you know, in Pisces, and I
Yeah.
think that, and there was a conjunction there too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that Wicked is the big movie,
Hmm.
you know, because what does Wicked deal with but this kind of utopian wizard who's not that, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, it's just and the vilification of anything that's seen as different, you
Hmm.
know, so yeah, it's there's a lot of yeah. And it's a good thing because people should be, you know, America has always prided itself on a kind of rugged individualism, but it was also which has its downside too, but it was also something in which it's like there was also innovation, inventiveness, things like this. And the whole point was, you know, you came to America and you were free to be who you were. You weren't,
Hmm.
you know, a serf underneath a count or a baron. You were there. So America's always had this very strong, or the colonized America, the America that creates the government here, has always had that resistance to, you know, what's the message? No kings, no, you know, that no kings and no one's above the law. And so I think that all of those things are going to be coming out. I just don't know if they're going to have a coherent result
Hmm.
on the other side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the question. What will come next? It's up to us collectively to
I,
decide.
and I think you put it perfectly. It's up to us. That's I
Yeah.
think that's the whole point. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
and it's that famous line that Benjamin Franklin, you know, when he's asked, do we have, I don't know, it was, do we have a constitution, sir? You know, and he's like, you have a republic if you can keep it
Keep it. Yes, if
right.
we can keep it. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom. I know you have afternoon plans, so I don't want to keep you, but it has been fantastic
Oh, thank you
talking
for
with
having me on
you.
your show. I really appreciate it, Celeste, and I miss
Yes.
you so much.
Any final words of wisdom you want to give people about facing 2026?
It's up to you,
Yeah, okay. We
you
said
know,
it all.
and yeah, it's up to you, and have faith in who you are. You, and this is the fire sign message, you make a difference. Every single one of you, every single one of us
Yes.
makes a difference. And that, I would say, is absolutely the message of 2026,
Thank you
especially
so
with
much.
Jupiter going into Leo. Okay, thank you, my dear. Thank you so
Yes, you can
much.
find Christopher at rulingplanets.com. You can find me at astrologybyceleste.com. And yeah, take good care, everyone. And meet the moment with courage is what I'm really working on rather than fear.
And who you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, honestly, it's cliche, but it was true. True then, true now. Nothing to fear but fear itself. And always remember that. We just need to
Absolutely.
remember that. Okay.
Absolutely. Take good care. Love you, Christopher.
I love you, my
And I'll
dear.
send you the article.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Bye,
Have
honey.
fun. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining.